So I think there's a lot of interesting things we heard this morning, and it's quite to do with post-implementation, and we already have a system in place and do this. Then here we are talking about, vision through execution this morning that we talked about the cloud that does it in three space, the hosting, the ERP implementation, and the analytics. So, two parts what I'm going to talk about is enabling customer on the ERP and SAP all in one, how quickly we have done this and help customers doing that. And we're seeing with this economy back on track, and things have been moving along very well. More and more customer wants to take an advantage of this, and one of the existing implementation where we had this success and a big smile on customer's face at the end of the implementation and say, wow, this is what we wanted for a time now. So let me just share some of those things with you guys. So SAP All-in-One has got so much of offering in different areas that most of the clients don't even know in terms of what SAP All-in-One can do. SAP All-in-One has got the, most of the ERP suites available, along with the CRM, HRM, and SCM. And the companies ranging from, mid-size, small to mid-size, are always interested in some sort of a solution where they can have an integrated system. And their fragmented system, which cripple them up in terms of their growth and what they want to embark upon in the next stage. They are the one who are potential customer for SAP all-in-one kind of a solution. SAP has got quite a lot of industrial templates available out of the box as the best practices. So that helps them get onto the ERP pretty quick in a very, very short time frame. So most of the time when we meet the customer and have the first call in terms of what they're looking for in terms of implementing different business processes, we always find out that themselves are not very sure because they always talk about the issues in terms of what they're not being able to do it. In finance, I can't get my reports. In inventory, I don't know what I have and what I need to sell, and reaching out to the different branches and different customers is always a challenge. And when we show some of those demos and say, yeah, it all makes sense, but can we do it? In the time frame and the budget that we have. So I think this is the case study which I'm going to talk about today, which we actually kind of delivered our vision and say, yes, we can do it. We can host the data. You can keep focusing on what you're good at, and we will help you try and partner with to get you up and running on some system which will be very robust, scalable. Okay. So I think these are some of the functionality that typically customers do detail and ask and say financial and controlling, HR, what you can do it in HCM. The purchasing part of it, the planning, inventory management, production and logistics. The last leg, the service management, at the end of it, once you have sale, how do you keep your customer engaged for the life cycle of it? So the whole suite available there. So this is the company based in, Virginia, where we have done the implementation, On-Site Health. Very innovative concept On-Site Health's got. They're bringing the medical services to the doorstep of the customer. They're just bringing this big, huge van that they put it in front of the customer where they have rapid deployment going on, some of the government projects that they do it. And they just provide the physical, dental, and other healthcare services at the doorstep so that your employees don't have to take a break time and try and get those things done. They can just put it on the premises and, help them get those things pretty quicker. So during the day when they're at work, they can just come out and do the services. So, the company was formed way back in 1997, and they've been rapidly growing. I mean, and they never needed a, kind of a point where they needed any kind of ERP. They were just working on the Excel and the QuickBooks in the background in terms of their financials and reporting and everything. And they're about to go bidding for a huge government federal contract. And the first thing that comes to their mind is, for the compliance is, do we have everything that we need before we go to this, a huge contract? And that's where they start to talk to us and say, we would like to have an ERP and SAP all-in-one can do something for us. And that's where we got engaged with them. So a couple of things which they always asked was, we have a very short time. In 2012, we want to be an ERP. And, I think we started talking to them in month of November, third week. And they said, within 5 to 6 weeks, we want to get up and running. And in 2012, we want to use the ERP SAP. you guys can help us with that. And when we said yes, they were like, wow, okay. Then the next thing starts to come in, in terms of what we did for them. So, I think another thing which they always had worried in terms of the hardware, the capabilities within the organization. This organization back office is pretty small in terms of people doing different things. So the finance guys will wear multiple hats and can do a lot of things, and IT guy will be one IT support, because most of them are like outsourced, the payrolls, the inventories, the rest of it. So having a capability in terms of SAP implementation, SAP installations, business processes and things like that were never been there within the organization, and they were kind of looking for something which they have to be less focused and bother about, and they can continue to focus about what they wanted to do in terms of the implementation. So with our offerings, it's not only the ERP, the whole end-to-end solutions, the cloud hosting, where on-site health never had to be worrying about implementing SAP within in-house. So they have building the capabilities, putting the hardwares together, scaling the hardwares and things like that. What we did for them was give them the option of taking everything of their responsibility in terms of setting up hardware, implementing and everything. We said we will put on the cloud. We will get you up and running, so you are still feeling it as if it's an hosted service. You're just using the application, which we get it ready for you, test it for you. So help them putting together the whole SAP landscape onto the cloud. Now, these are the typical customer challenges, which most of the small and medium-sized companies have, and the on-site health has the similar one. In terms of, whatever I talked about, a couple of things, their entire application was so fragmented. Nobody in the organization had the end-to-end view of the application. They're just running on the QuickBooks and running their financials and reportings and everything. But if you look at the whole end-to-end business process, they will start to think, oh, what are you talking about? We don't have that. I mean, we don't have anybody who will know this. So we said, okay, fine, what are the different systems we have? Then we learned about some of the QuickBooks, which they run, and the fragmented Excel Access database, where they just collect the data, report it as and when any of the federal agency or the customer asks for the reports, things like that. And there we start to get to know, okay, there are so many fragmented processes that they have. They don't have a clue on it in terms of, how to collect the data or how to put together. No wonder they've been crippled. Their business is not growing, and most of the time they're trying and figuring it out, how to collect the data and put it in front of the customer. And, last but not least, I mean, there is always constraint of the, budgets for them. It's small and medium-sized companies. In terms of SAP, wow, it's very expensive, I heard, and we can't, afford it. And this is the limited budget we have. Can we do this, So once they put this thing's parameter in front of us, we kind of took the bat and just walked them through in a presentation and say within 5 to 6 weeks we can do this particular work. And we used all the out-of-the-box templates for them and say, if you put the data on this particular business processes, your business will be up and running and you won't even know about what we did in the background. So we kind of start to show them some of the things in terms of this entire thing will be done in less than 5 to 6 weeks, and we'll give them the assurance saying that on 2012 you will be using SAP. There's no other system that you'll have to use it, and then start to work through some of the baseline scenarios for them in terms of what are the finance scenarios you have, because in SAP All-in-One there is cool out of the box baseline scenarios that you can run and show to the customer, which is minimum data that the end-to-end data can do their businesses. So we have our own demo systems where we start to put together those things for the customer. And when customers start to see that, the requirements start to come up now. Now they start talking in terms of what they want, how they want. So, I think within 6 weeks, with such a diverse team, on-site, offshore, and infrastructure, everything put together, in the month of December, we kind of delivered the whole system to them. And on 9th of January we went live with some of those baseline scenarios and the P&L by the event, P&L by the department, which is kind of the core requirement they had. And the standard federal queries that they were looking for, they start to see all those things coming along. So I think when we saw these things coming together in such a short time, Now they've been excited and say, okay, fine, what is going to be our next phase? The client who's not even seen the system start to use it, when he starts to use it and say this is possible, the amount of possibilities that this software has got, it starts to open up for them. This is kind of the comparison that I just put together in terms of how much time it takes to do various activities behind the scene, not just to get too much into the technical detail, but this was our first traditional project plan by the SAP's ASAP methodology that we had put in front of the client. And when they saw this and say, no, we don't have this time, how are you going to do it? So you're telling me you're not going to do the project? We said, no, that's not the point. Point is, this is what it takes just to get a visibility. You guys are doing this for the first time. You may not know what are the nuances and what are the details that you needed, but we just want to make sure that whenever we deliver something to you in terms of shortening the time and all, there's always some sort of a risk in terms of whether your organization is ready to use this. Capabilities are one thing, but usage of it and trying and getting the maximum out of it, you normally don't get it till the time you get into the detail of it. And when we showed this traditional method and then we came back and start to go item by item and say, what is the cloud that is going to do it? What are the other areas where we can save the time? Then they start to open up, and the traditional thinking about the customer, that hardware is on the side, software is on the side, everything is safe, we don't want to be going out. There are different battles out there in terms of how we had to convince them in terms of having their entire SAP system on the cloud. The software becomes mine, everything is mine, but we're just putting everything outside, and I'm going to be running my business somewhere outside. And how is that going to work? But as soon as they see it's going to save some time, money for them, and this is not going to be any different than what I have, and the security levels and the rest of it, then they start to get convinced. So things are changing. I mean, the customer start to feel and see the benefit out there, and how they thought before how they should have it, and now with the offering, little bit of reluctance there, but then big names like SAP and a reputed partner, if they have it in front, they prove it. Yes, this is going to be at your advantage. They start to bite the bullet in terms of, yes, this is the way to go. So again, this is kind of a very game changer for us in terms of how customers start to see it. So these are the various places. We could save a good amount of time for them and make things happen. Some of the parallel installations of the things we did, it was like all the resources are spread for us, offshore resources, onshore resources. So some of the activity which we always have to line with in terms of customers' commitment. When customer is ready to go for a deployment, they're going to buy the hardware, they're going to put those infrastructure together, and then we come in line and say, okay, now it's our turn to do our job. And those starts to come in. We just cut all those things pretty significantly by showing him behind the scene what our capabilities are and what we can do it for them. Yeah. Now this is some of the development. I mean, any implementations that you have, everything is out of the box, but yeah, there is always something very specific that you want to have it, your own invoices, your check printings and details like that. No matter how much things are ready, these are all still the time consuming aspect of it, which we kind of got it done in our offshore delivery center, which is more to do with some of the standard templates are available. Tell us if this is what you're going to like it, this is what you can do it for you. You start to put together and say, okay, these are the basic ones. Yes, it'll be available to you in a time that you need it, and then start to deliver it to them. But some of the operational stuff in terms of the master data upload, cutover upload, this is all which we got it down significantly, lower timing and quick development cycles. You look at the date, when I'm looking at it and when I'm making this presentation, it all looked like, oh, this is what we did it in 5 weeks time. But it is all possible, in terms of November is the month, December where, everybody's going to take time off, and customers are saying, on January 1st week, I want to go live. They themselves are not available in the last week of December, and the milestone, there are some of the activity, installation of the production system on 12/26, which is like the week when entire world is going to be away. But when we presented these dates, and they were not ready to believe, but when we just got it done, I said, wow, So this is, it's all because the way SAP has packaged this product. It's so easy to implement it. It's so easy to adopt it. Okay, where client just needs to give their master data, just need to give their transactional data, their input time in terms of validating some of those systems. But the basic notion of the customer thing that ERP, SAP, so difficult to use, so difficult to implement it just goes away. This is very, very possible. There are some of the things, where in typical ERP engagements, you normally have done the ROI, you have done all the quality measures, what you want to have it, and at the end of the implementation, you start to do it. Here is the customer, he just says, I have this budget, I want to do this, and can you do it for me? Yes, take this advance check and go and implement it. When we came back and start to put together what we did it for them, the client is like totally, top of the world. They go and sell their, systems and capabilities now to every customer they meet. You guys know we have SAP, we can do this for you, we can do this for you. And, it just goes on. And some of the things which they themselves start to see it in terms of, their capabilities in the finance number, the reporting, and the visibility of the business that they had was like fourfold increase. Their confidence in front of the customer is just gone up so high that they want to now implement each and every functionality available out there in SAP just to take their business to the next level. So sometimes they didn't realize where the investments were going in, and now this has become their totally powerhouse in terms of what they can do it and how they can rapidly enhance their businesses. These are some of the savings. When they were spending it, they didn't know what they've been saving it, but now they've been going back and analyzing it because second phase of implementation is coming. They just want to know what all the other things we can do it. They just did the basic financials, okay, into the SAP and some of the AR and AP related functionality, the account payable and account receivable, and now they start to think the sales and distribution, the HR, the service management, the asset management, different aspect of it. And then once you start to put together a business case for all of them, because these are the big things now, the one is they had the bare minimum system, they were using it, and we had to just go and replace that. There was no brainer for them in terms of investment, because it's government compliance and we need to have it. Second one is, this is the budget, can you do it? And we said yes, and then got it done. But now they look back what the investment just brought it to them. Immediately the thing starts to change for them, because now they're investing in future. What are the different things they're going to do it? And we started to do this analysis, and it was very, very pleasing to them in terms of their investment, saying that we just put our money in the right place, right time. So these are the second phase. Now the financial works fine, give us more about asset management with the equipment tracking. Now this customer has got a huge truck, which is very sophisticated. They just bring it to the client side, which does the x-rays, got the dental chairs, and there are millions of dollars in terms of what they put it in those equipments, and they don't have any detail whatsoever. What is inside, how is it utilized, or are we in compliance with whatever you're supposed to have it, all sorts of details. So when the company's been growing, all those things are in the backside. I mean, the concept itself is they're pushing it. So most of the time is just in front of the customer and making this concept happen. But now they're at the different level. This is going to be offering to the industry. Can we take it to the different people now that we don't have to worry about what you already been implemented and covered? Now we have visibility to it. So can we do the asset management and keep track of all the equipments and investment we have? And then the sales and distribution, I just want to make sure every order we take it, we track it to the detail, and would like to do some sort of a profitability analysis, because we know we are making money, but how much we don't know. Okay, those are the kind of details that they'll never had it on the QuickBooks and the details they were carrying in. So it starts to focus totally on terms of what they would like to do in the business. It just truly enabled them to do what they wanted to do it. Okay, And then the next aspect, the service management, how many times the equipments are down and what we need to do it, where our assets are across the country. I mean, they're spread across the whole United States in different regions, and taking care of that. And the human capital, I think, for them, it's a service business. So the key thing to them is always, who are the different quality people we have, skill sets we have, and how we can just mobilize them better, how we can utilize their capacity better. So you say, what this, HCM can do it for us. So possibilities are like unlimited for them. It's truly, enabling their whole strengths and taking it to the marketplace now. These are some of the, key differentiator when it comes to the cloud data. I'm just going to talk about our team and what we are capable of. Okay. We have very, very, very good industry experience in terms of handling the larger install base of the clients and the smallest of it. We understand customer very well in terms of what are the requirements, what they would like to have, what are the budgets, what are the timelines. And as a team, when we take up this work, within the organization, we are so focused in terms of our vision, bringing the right things, the right place, right time, in the shortest time, and the entire team works, okay, with that particular focus in terms of delivery. So that, most of the time we have been able to speak customer language, what they're looking for. And when we go with an, methodology, which is kind of mix of all, the bigger companies' advantages and SAP's power, I think they just immediately start to see it's coming along. And then we start to work at a different level. We are almost partnering with them in terms of their business partnership. We are not only the application vendor sitting out and doing what customer expects us and just, roll out their system and just move on from there. So I think it's a very win-win situation for us, and we think, we can bring a significant value to the customer. That's pretty much I had to cover in terms of what you have done, and, was wondering any of the questions you guys have. I know it's all, most of the people out here around the HANA and new technology and things. So, we were hoping a lot of all-in-one customers will be interested, or somebody who's been, moving into the next phase of implementations, what they do it. Probably we can talk about it. So I think, which project you're talking about? Yes, out of the box, put your data and run. Yes, sir. That's the first answer. No, just, yeah. Well, I mean, things have been changing, and whatever we've been positioning our company as, it's not just what we are seeing it. We've been able to deliver this. So, we were so confident, more and more customer for smaller, medium projects that come. Over and above the all-in-one, whatever we are talking, different technology, we are very, very confident as a team that we understand customer and the requirement the best right now. And, we are all geared up to help you guys in any of the projects that you look for, the time and budget that you have, and have the capabilities there. So with that, thank you very much. Thanks for your time.